So now we're recording. And
broadcasting live from sunny California, it's 10 Minutes in Tinsel Town with Ms. Meliz, a.k.a. Melissa Reyes. And now, from the left corner, your host, Melissa Reyes.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Melissa Reyes, and this is Tinsel Town Tonight. And with Ms. Meliz, that's me. And tonight I have a special guest. His name is Jonathan Tripp. And if you're around Blab in the morning or afternoons or East Coast time, you know him. He's known for Blabnation. So anyone who is anyone should know him by now. So welcome, Jonathan, to Tinsel Town Tonight.
This is great. Thank you so much for having me. I mean, this is literally 12 hours after I normally and regularly blab. So this is fantastic. I never get to like be on like this late at night on Blab. So I really thank you so much for having me tonight. Today.
Well,
whatever it is.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm thrilled because I do try and watch things in the morning. During the day, it's hard for me because I do work full time, but I have a lovely job that sometimes I can have it on, like, and listen. So it is different at night. I've got people on the side saying, it's different at night. Well, it's different in the morning. And there's a lot of people on Blab right now, and it's an exciting time. And it's great to get to know people. So I highly suggest popping in at different times and seeing who's out there and connecting on Twitter. And that's what we did. So I don't know how or when, but you started looking like a familiar face to me. And so I jumped on Blabnation and got lucky enough to connect with you. So you're here. And then on Wednesday. Is it Tuesday? Wednesday.
Today's Tuesday.
Wednesday morning, I'm going to co-host with you on Blabnation. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually taking the morning off. I'm getting a comp day so I could be home and, live the morning life. And I'll have my big cup of coffee and I'll be ready to go to be your co-host. So I'm really excited about that. It's a little
we call those the mug shots. Just so you know, they're called the mug shots. You got to get the lingo down. You got to.
Too late for me to drink coffee, so I've got my water. I don't know what you call that. But in the morning on my coffee. Yeah, so this is really cool. So this is Tinsel Town Tonight is a talk show kind of show. I've been doing it for a little over a year now, every Tuesday night. Various platforms, but it's been my home here at Blab since I don't know, when did it start? August? I don't know, 200 something days. So I've got a few friends here and a lot of new friends. And so I like to interview people who are like you, Jonathan, who just light up the screen and are doing something good and you're helping other people. And it's pretty neat. So I want you to tell me more about yourself. What's your background and how did you come to Blab?
Okay, well, it's without being too long and drawn out, it's my journey to Blab. No, that's way too epic. That's way too overstated, right? No, but okay. My journey to Blab, in all seriousness, it started actually with starting out on another live streaming a platform called Periscope. I don't know if you've heard of this this platform called Periscope.
No.
It's pretty famous out there. Well, I started on Periscope, and actually I started on Periscope under a different name. And I was on twice a day. I was on in the morning, kind of like the mid to early afternoons. Not coincidentally enough, they actually corresponded to my kids' naps times. So I knew that the house was going to be actually quiet enough, right?
Okay.
So, but I would scope twice a day, and actually, I think some of our audience members may have actually been there because what I did, I would scope every day, 5 days a week. Sometimes I would scope on the weekends, and I would just get a following. And then eventually somebody told me, they said, John, you need to be on Blab. Why aren't you on Blab? And I said, I don't need it. It's just another thing, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, so I resisted, but after a little bit, I said, okay, I gotta try it out. So I downloaded I downloaded the app on my iPad, and I was like, okay, we got to try this out, right? And so I was clicking on, I was like, oh, how's this working? I was kind of creeping a little bit. Well, I was trying to read the comments in one of them, and I accidentally called in. And I'm not joking. It freaked me out. I was not prepared. I was not ready.
I'm laughing because I've done that on my phone, like roll over in bed and suddenly you're in the group.
And I was in the group, my face was on the camera, and I was like, as fast as I could, I exited out, I turned my iPad off, and I didn't even touch it for a week. I never opened it up again for a whole week. So that was my introduction to Blab. And I have to say, thankfully, it's gotten better. Actually, it's gotten dramatically better. And in all seriousness, it was better because what I started doing was I started talking to my Periscope friends. And I said, guys, we're going to start here, and we're going to go over to Blab. I'm going to have this conversation. We're going to talk about the topic we're talking about today, whatever it was. Usually it says, Shay, she understands. So she's actually one of the people she's in the audience here today. Mm-hmm. She remembers. I would say, hey, we're going to talk about this on Blab. So if you want to have a better conversation, maybe a deeper conversation, be able to ask me questions in person, let's go over to Blab and let's do it. Mm-hmm. And that is how Blabnation started with, I think, 3 or 4 of us. And I wasn't recording them then. I wish I had. It would have been funny. Mm-hmm. But that's how Blabnation got started. And now some 130 days, 140 days later, I'm here with you. 139 days. Tomorrow's 140 days. If you can
you've made it when you're on Tinsel Town tonight, right?
That's how I'm feeling right now. That's how I'm feeling.
Good, because it's pretty neat that when you meet people and they want to interview you, and I want to introduce you to everybody that I know, and I think that you came in at a really great time. You brought over your following from Periscope. I kind of remember those days. Anybody else in here put a 1 in the side if you remember when Periscope suddenly arrived at Blab. And it was really, really exciting and kind of strange because every time something big happens, like today with Tony Robbins being on, you're going to get a flood of more people in, and it does change the dynamics, and it's neat, and it takes time to get to know everybody and kind of reestablish yourself, and it's kind of fun. Once you get used to riding that wave, it's kind of fun. Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of like being new all the time. Do you get that feeling? Because when new people come in and you're new to them.
It really is. And, we try to keep it kind of fresh. I mean, we keep it pretty topic oriented. But if every day I talked about literally the same thing, I don't think, and now I see some really familiar faces around here now. They would probably let me know right away. And I've gotten those. Messages like, John, you know what? You could have asked a better question. You needed to press your guest a little bit better. Oh. And that was the turning point for me with the group, when they felt comfortable enough to approach me and go, John, you can do better.
Good.
And it really made me go, I guess, I can do better. I will do better. Mm-hmm. And that's how Blabnation community really started to go. And I really took them seriously, not just as like a bunch of people that showed up.
So what is it that that you hope to achieve with Blabnation and with your message on social media?
That is a really great question, because I think early on I had no idea. I had no idea what I was getting into. I was really just thinking that this would be a great place to meet new people. And really, like that was it. Yeah, we've actually talked about this earlier today and yesterday. Where do we want to go with Blabnation? Where do I see it going?
And you must be at a turning point then if everyone's asking that.
I like to call it critical mass, or it's the time that brew a new pot of coffee, right? Because this is actually a good question because it keeps me up. That's right. And you see it in the comments in the sections, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, but it's in some ways, and I mean it very sincerely, it's one of those questions that keeps me up at night, because Blabnation is becoming more than just a show that we show up at. It's becoming more than just, maybe one or two people kind of getting together and we talk for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. I mean, we've had some pretty epic blabs going on. But where I see Blabnation going, I see it being more and more community oriented, where it becomes a place where the community as a whole and then individuals within it are able to be able to learn how and develop a skill, also a place to launch their own shows, their own brands, and it's a place for them to really actually connect, not just click join.
Right. Good.
That's really one of the things that I've really seen Blabnation. They've decided that that's what they want, and and I just feel that I need to provide that outlet, and I think right now we're going to do that.
Well, I've seen a lot of people try. Well, not a lot, maybe 3 or 4, but you have a magic potion. You have some kind of secret sauce or something that's happening because it's you. You're putting effort into it, and you're including everybody, and you're making it seem really inclusive, I think, is the word that keeps coming up, because I felt very included as soon as I talked on. And that's not always the case. Sometimes you can be in a group for a couple of weeks where you're feeling it around and seeing what's going on, but you're very present. So I think that's neat. But so what about your business? What about JonathanTripp.com? What about you? What is it that you are doing right now with all this?
What am I doing with this? All right. Blabnation is becoming a real thing in my life, right? This is the other part of growing. And again, you'll hear me say it time and time again. Where do we see Blabnation going? I see it growing. Okay, but how does that really affect me personally? What it's doing, it's actually taking a lot of my time. It's taking a lot more time than I ever really thought. And so what became really important to me was saying, okay, so how can I balance this, or how can I make it so that I can literally and actually be able to afford to be able to do this? And so one of the things I did, I actually shifted and did a little bit of rebranding for myself, and decided to go more into, I do social media consulting. I work with people on helping grow their individual or their collective social media accounts through whether it's automation or where they just more so outsourcing a lot of the features that they do. And you just can't hit send, you can't just hit start and expect your social media to grow and things like this. You do have to have a little bit of a strategy. And so what I decided to do is to offer a lot more.
Okay, so I lost Jonathan. At first, I lost his image. He's still in the room, but I don't see him, and now I don't even hear him. So you may, I don't want to lose the blab completely. We're having some technical difficulties, but I think we'll, hopefully Jonathan can go back out and come back in again. And this is one of those things that I can cue Efren, my awesome editor, to just, cut. But that was good. You were on such a roll. And so thank you so much for those of you on the side who are going to help me get Jonathan back. I wanted to just acknowledge, I'll take this moment to acknowledge everybody and introduce myself again in case you're new, and to Tinsel Town tonight. My name is Melissa Reyes, and I go by Ms. Meliz. And sorry, Jason, who's trying to get in. I am waiting for my guests to return, so we're going to have a Jonathan Tripp back in here in a minute, and we're going to continue with the interview. And so I want to say hi to the people in the room, like Barb and Renee and Rick, and anybody else I'm missing. I'm glad that you're here. And I have a website called MsMeliz.com. I have, hello, Renee. I'm happy to be in Blabnation and getting to know everybody there. I'm extremely interested in learning about having a client base and promoting myself as a life coach. I also have written a book, and there he is. He's back. I was just doing a little station break. So I've written a book. I, have a website. I blog. I write. I'm involved in social media, and so and this Blab thing. So working alongside marketing professionals really helps me to manage my brand and to manage my endeavors and to meet more people and to cross over a little bit. Even though I'm not really selling anything right now. But I do, I do love social media and I love live streaming. So that's why I'm here. And Tinsel Town Tonight is my show. That's also on YouTube and iTunes. So Jonathan, say something. See if we can hear you. I don't think we can.
Here, let me try.
Oh, I hear you.
This. Okay, good. Making sure everything works. I apologize. I have no idea.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's happening. Everybody in the side's like, yeah, that happens to me too. So don't worry about it. We'll just roll with it. And we're still recording. We got some, you were telling me about your business and about how that's starting to become Blabnation.
Right.
And, so that's neat.
Yeah, the long and short of it is really this, is that because of Blabnation and how important I feel that it is, I've done a little bit of rebranding to include social media consulting, to do account services, but then to really spend a lot of my time with Blabnation. I think really being able to grow it as a community, but also as an outlet for people to be able to really come in and figure out, look, if you're serious about live streaming, this is a wonderful opportunity, and really making that one of the mainstays of really what I intend to, services that I intend to be able to offer people, just in the providing the best value, because I think I figured out a couple of things that I think that work. So,
right? Can you give us some tips?
Live streaming. Okay. We'll get right into it, right?
Actually, if you want to hold off, we can answer a few of the questions that are popping up, and then because everybody's, putting some questions in, which is so exciting. And then we will come back to tips on live streaming, the Jonathan Tripp Blabnation way. Okay. So we won't forget that. Sure. Okay. I lost him again. I hear you. Which is
if you can at least hear me. Okay. I have no idea why. It's
It's okay. This is a test. This is a test of the emergency Melissa system, and we're doing fine. Everybody's fine. So can you still hear me?
Yes, I can. I can still hear you.
Oh, awesome. This is like the voice in my head. So I'll put a question in the box. This kind of stays on topic. So social media enhanced your brand. Are you asking me or Jonathan or in general? Social media definitely, you know what? I think it enhances your brand, but also can make your brand develop in a way that that's unexpected, kind of like Jonathan. How would you answer that, Jonathan?
Just would you, if you would, because I can't see the question, would you just read it back to me just real quick?
Absolutely. And it's a good lesson to learn too, because on the replay you won't see that. So social media enhanced your brand. Mm-hmm. Is that what you were saying? I think maybe just kind of an emphasis on that.
I would think absolutely. Social media not only enhanced my brand, I would almost restate it in this way. Social media gave me the opportunity to actually share my brand, because I do personal branding, for Jonathan Tripp. That social media gave me the opportunity to be able to step out and be able to show who I am and give myself a voice in a way that I think if I didn't have live streaming, if I didn't.
Now he's gone. If you didn't have hang in there, we'll find out. So, okay, are you back? Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Okay, good.
And I can see you.
Oh, good. I can see you too.
Okay, good.
Yay!
All right.
Everybody can see you. Okay.
You can do cuts and edits.
This is so exciting. Oh, yeah. It's all good. Only 10 minutes is going on iTunes anyway. I take the best ones. So social media enhanced your brand, and you were starting to say that. And did you want to finish off your thought? Or
social media, I guess, just to kind of give you the almost like a soundbite version of it.
That's what I was hoping for.
Right? Is social media gave me, it didn't just simply enhance, it really actually allowed me, social media allowed me the opportunity to express, to share, and to really connect with a series of people, whole hosts of people that I would never have been able to meet if I had just done local networking, if I had done traditional email marketing. Social media really gave me the legs to stand on regarding my business.
You know, you said that's my magic word is connect, because it takes two. It is that conversation that we can have here and the live streaming, even just with chat, that is different than anything else. And of course, you know, it's getting people to get more engaged with Twitter and Facebook and Instagram in a conversation rather than just posting. And I love that. And so connect is one of my words for the year. Do you do that? Do you have kind of a theme for the year?
Well, my theme word for 2016 was actually conversation.
Aha, there you go. All right. Well, mine's sparkle. You might have figured that one out. Sparkle, create, and connect. So I'm going to use the 3-word process this year and see how that goes, because one word just isn't enough for me. But they all go together. So here's another question from Brian. And he was mentioning, do you see them doing a summit like Periscope? I think he's meaning Blab having, or maybe a Blabnation summit. What do you think of, and let me just premise this by, if you have a conference on a cruise ship, I probably would go, because I really want to go to one of those.
Totally. Okay. then it is. No.
You heard it here on Tinsel tonight, folks.
Yeah, I mean, I would say this, right? Okay, based on precedent, if you're talking about Blabnation, I would say the sky is the limit. Sky's the limit. There's no reason why we couldn't or shouldn't in the future. Now, regarding Blab, which I have a lot less influence on, I don't know if you guys know this. I have I might be able to get a tweet back from Blab, right? But
I can't even get an email back.
Right. But if your question's about, like, do you see Blab doing a summit like Periscope? I do see it in I would be able to see them doing it. I think their influence is growing. I think their platform, even despite some of the issues, I think they're headed in that direction. The only difference is they don't have Twitter as a backer. That's the one thing. They're not that integrated with Twitter.
Right. It'll be interesting to see. I know that did anybody here? Was anybody here? They might have spoken up already if they were at that the summit, and then went to the Blab parties and stuff, and got into that. Was in San Francisco recently, where everybody was at Blab.
I didn't. I wasn't there. I actually saw it. Believe it or not, I actually saw it through Snapchat.
That's interesting. That's ironic.
I actually so get this right. I saw the Blab event
on Snapchat
on Summit through Dana Garrison, who's a really big, she's a great Periscoper. I don't know if you guys know that. Right?
Yeah.
So that's how that was my intro.
Dana Garrison, I just met her yet on Sunday because of Snapchat.
She's a fantastic person.
I'm going to try to do I signed up with her to do a small group discussion, and that she's going to do for free, and I'm really excited about it. And I joined her Love Tribe or something. Yeah, Love Tribe. So it's so neat to recognize these names and to know people and see what they can do. And so yeah, she's pretty neat. So I decided to dedicate Sundays for Snapchat. And when I did that with Twitter a year ago, I just did Tuesdays for Twitter, and just that would be the day that I would kind of focus on that one platform, and grew it. And now I can't, it's kind of like a constant. Okay, so now I'm going to try to put a little focus into Snapchat because I couldn't figure it out. And I learned how to FaceTime on it. I'm going to call it FaceTime, but the two-way thingy. So exciting. I mean, like that, nobody talks about that. I didn't even know that existed.
Oh, yeah.
Until somebody just popped in my screen. It actually works, unlike Blab at this very moment. Look at my face. Oh my God. That's so funny. All right. So I'm talking too much. One of those things that Dana actually said was listen 90% and talk 10%. So I better shut up or I'm going to be out of control in a minute. So Jonathan, where were we?
Well, I think we were taking some questions, right?
Yeah. So do you see them doing a sum? Okay, we answered that. I'm going to close that one out. That was a good question, Brian. And Barb has a question here too. And this kind of goes back to what you were saying before. And are you turning Blabnation into a business?
I'm going to say it like this. It never started out that way. I think what's going to happen in order to provide the best value to everybody involved, I think there might be partitions. There might be, look, if you want to participate in certain types of events or you want certain things, then you might need to contribute something. But I don't think that would change the dynamics or the community of being able to join, being able to participate and join a live Blabnation event here, hosted on Blab. I would never envision in any way, shape, or form that to be changed. But I think if you might want to do like a small, almost like maybe like a mastermind or like a small private group or something like that, in order to be able to handle certain things, just logistically, I could foresee that having to happen, but not compromising what the nature is. That's right.
Right. It wasn't your intention to start off as a business and maybe not even thinking of it as a business, but it could grow into some business-like platforms for you. That sounds pretty neat. And why not? Right?
Right.
As
long as it's adding value to the audience, the moment that it stops, then I think it actually stops being what Blabnation is really about.
Yeah. The value is for the people. I see you giving yourself in that way. I mean, you seem to be service oriented, and I know in our interchange background, kind of interchange, you said that you have a background in nonprofits. So you want to tell me a little bit about that?
Well, I've done a lot of different types of work, and I will say this: it's usually been in the small business section. Of the huge business world, right? I've worked with a lot of small businesses through property service as well as through some nonprofits. And my experience has always been being more of a coordinator. I've done a lot of in-home hospice type visitation work and things like that. I've done a lot of volunteer coordination. Especially when you're first young and you start out, you'll do anything, right? So I would just say yes to anything.
Long ago.
Right, and you don't even know. Maybe you should say no, right?
No.
And so what I did early on is that with particularly with a lot of with a lot of things like that, I would work with churches and we would work with a lot of outreach and community groups and of course when you get into those sections and I'll be really honest, it's working with a nonprofit with volunteers. I think it dramatically changes your perception of how to treat people from an employee-employer relationship to somebody that they're genuinely giving up their time. They for the most part, they believe in the cause. That to me changes the relationship fundamentally. And so does, as a leader or as a coordinator, it changes your ability to, you really hold a lot less sway and it's a lot more about influence. And so you need to learn how to talk to people as people, not just a commodity. And we talked about that earlier today too. So that's my perspective on non-profits.
That's good. That's really good. I have a lot of experience in nonprofit. Well, I work for a nonprofit now, that's a school, but we do a lot of work with organizations and fundraising. So, and my family is actually very involved in helping homeless and the underprivileged children. So, kind of big background with that. So, and it's interesting to see people develop into a point where they're running what is a business in order to keep an organization alive. So both my brother and sister-in-law are in, upper management for nonprofits. It's pretty amazing because like you said, it's really more about people and making things happen than about turning a profit or making something. So, so it really becomes more engaged from the heart, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can put that into business. You really can make a difference for people in their experience. That's pretty awesome. So we have another question in here. It actually is a statement from Donnie, and she says, Blabnation is a great place to connect with people. And I just want to take a moment and say, yes, it is, because I connected with her on your show in the chat, that she's an artist. And she sent me some pictures that when I get a chance to print out are going to be going on my wall. And I'm going to hold them here so you can see it. This is one of Grammy, as I call her, Grammy Donnie Glenn. This is one of her paintings. And I don't know, it's pretty.
I can tell.
You can see what it is. It's all these pretty blues and greens. And then here's another one. She sent me 3. And which is so nice of her. I like that one with the swirl. It's very abstract. Now, Grammy, I don't want to call her Grammy. Donnie, tell me what medium these are. These oil. And then this one is kind of a grouping. And I really like they look like birds to me. I know they're not birds, but I see birds. And because I like birds. So
and that's what
anyhow.
you see.
Yeah, so I can't wait to print them out and to love the colors. And as you can see, I like to highlight different artists. I've got some Maria Sanchez and some Susie Cheel and, different people that I've met all online. And I like to put their art up there, and it inspires me. And I'm becoming an artist myself. So it's kind of something I thought would be really neat. And I will post that. If you go to MsMeliz.com and go to the interview with Jonathan, and it's called Who Does Social Work For? And you can, I'll put in the link so you can meet up with Donnie on Facebook and find out how you can, maybe tap into and order some of her art. It's really awesome. And so, yeah, those are really pretty. And then we can take a screenshot of those 2 later. So thank you so much for sending me that. And we connected thanks to you, Jonathan. So thank you as well. And if everybody would just take a moment and tweet and tell your friends, and we can come in for the second half. We still have, I like to go for an hour, so we still have about 20 minutes. And love to see if we have some more questions and some more things, because now is the really good part. I mean, is the second half of a late night show is when anything goes, right?
Is it still going to be recorded, though?
It's still recorded, and it's all good. But I do, I want to talk to about some of the things that I've heard about you, Jonathan.
Okay.
There's a little buzz going around, and it has to do with eating and drinking.
All right.
Basically. Yeah. So let's first talk about your passion on coffee, because if anybody here that doesn't know you, might be interested to know that there's something attached to your hand. Let's see it. That's the mug. And it's all about coffee. So what coffee do you drink, and what are you into, and why the big deal about coffee?
All right. I'm already reading the comments. This is you guys.
I know they like it.
I have always been a coffee drinker. I've always been a coffee drinker. I mean, I remember as a child, kind of sneaking the coffee mug off and just trying it. And I remember loving it. So great. And then I think my parents growing up, I think they switched brands or something. They did something. And then I tasted it. It was like, oh, this is awesome. And I did drink it for a while. Right. And then college hit.
Bourbon in there, probably. No, just kidding.
And I started to drink coffee all the time. Yeah. Right. And it was because it was social. We socially accept. And then by my 4th or 5th year, doing work, we had a little bit where we called it the race to the heart attack. Okay. This is a horrible thing, and I don't want to encourage. This is not I'm not encouraging anybody to do this. We call this a race to a heart attack, where we'd each brew a pot of coffee and to see who during the day would actually drink it first. And I mean, this was like a big deal. I mean, we drank coffee like it was going out of style. And so fast forward through the years, I now have I do my perk. I have a percolator, espresso, so it's a stovetop. and it makes French press that way. I mean, it makes espresso that way.
An answer to the question we have here from Donnie: brewed Keurig or French press?
I do have
care.
a French
I'm
press.
Keurig.
I do, but you have to grind the beans. You have to grind them more coarsely. You can't get fine grinds, otherwise it just doesn't work. Okay, you can do espresso. You can do those, and that I have a stovetop for. I've got a regular coffee maker. You know,
Mr. Coffee.
I have a camping coffee maker so that I can do it right on the stove in the can. So I mean, you need to be prepared for all types, all situations of coffee. You know, so
you ever have cowboy coffee?
Cowboy, yeah. It's just I mean, I've made coffee
boiled in the pan, right?
That's right. That's what it is. and having coffee so strong that it scares the spoon. The spoon, spoon stands straight up. Right. Yeah. Right.
Is that why the spoon jumped over the moon or ran away with it? Whatever.
That is probably actually one of the reasons why.
It's the coffee.
That's right.
So, are you brand specific?
No, I'm not yet. I'm not yet. But I will say this: there are certain unnamed brands that I will stay away from because to me they smell and taste like a wet dog. So I don't drink it. I can't drink it. It's actually.
I haven't had the wet dog coffee yet.
Stay away from wet dog coffee. It's not good. It's not good.
Okay, so we could go way into coffee if we wanted to, but if you have any more coffee questions on the side there, please ask. And if you have any tips on a coffee or leads on a coffee sponsor for Jonathan, I think I've been pushing him to go towards some of my favorites, like Marley coffee. I don't know if you're Marley.
I would entertain a coffee sponsor for Blabnation. I would do that.
Why not? All right, so that's cool. That's the blogger in me. So the other question was about food, and I heard that this is how I heard it. Yeah, his family eats that or something. I don't know. It's like he cooks that. I don't know. But you told me that you love to cook. So let's hear it. What do you cook? Are you on a special diet or something?
No, I'm not on a special diet.
I mean, not diet, but do you follow a certain, theory or?
Well, here's the thing, right? I learned to cook because I had to. All right. I had to learn how to cook because one, I couldn't afford to eat the way that I wanted to eat, which was basically everything, right? And then I quickly realized that my body couldn't keep up with the way that I wanted to eat. So I got into this. I got this idea in my head.
For me,
I would rather eat better quality than more quantity. Okay. So I started to cook better quality food, and I actually found out I didn't need to eat quite as much, but I really enjoyed what I ate.
You mean like the elf food at fine restaurants that comes in the little tiny thingies, but they taste really
like micro food. Instead of I didn't need to eat 12 hamburgers. I would make one that was just really good. Okay.
You never ate 12 hamburgers.
And along came the whole idea, and then I have kids. I have 5 kids, and trying to cook for them can be an adventure. Okay. I'll just probably the best way to say it. One of the biggest adventures is getting them to eat their vegetables. Okay. So that was probably one of the big things. Then my wife says, I don't like this food. And so I really took this as a challenge to cook certain foods, right. To cook it so that I actually went, yeah, I want to eat that. And I will say this, I've been very successful. I can get them to eat Brussels sprouts and broccoli and cauliflower. I mean, you name it. I mean, asparagus, I can get the one food. There's one food I made that I cannot get them to eat. I can get them to eat Brussels sprouts. Not a problem. Piece of cake. I know the formula. Okay. The one food that I cannot get them to eat, it was a soup that I made. It was butternut squash, peanut butter soup. And I kid you not, every time they tell the story, it actually gets worse. You would think that I was trying to kill them. It's like that. It's like the fish story that every time you tell it, the fish keeps getting bigger and it's more. That's my soup. That's my peanut butter. Gosh.
I have one like that. That's legendarily bad. I don't know if that's the word, but epically bad. Because it wasn't that bad, but there for a while, I want to say Heinz was marketing a green ketchup. Okay. it was all natural and it was green and not red. And so, I wanted to try it and the kids didn't like it. I don't know why. I thought they would want to eat something green. I have 3 little boys. They're all men now, but back then. And so they wouldn't eat it. So I made, what does a mother do with this ketchup? I made meatloaf. Well, of course, it made a green meatloaf. And they hated it. It was really tasty. It was really good, but they were like, it's green, blah. And they just wanted to bag on me. Needless to say, I don't cook very much anymore. I was like, my ego was, but no, there are some things that I make that they love, but my husband does more of the cooking now since I kind of took on this evening thing. But in fact, right now he's making ribs, but
right over.
Yeah, baked beans, I think. No, it's just junk food, really, but it'll be good. And I didn't have to cook it. That's the best part. But yeah, so we have this thing, and I totally get what you mean. Like they just, whenever they tell the story, it's worse. It's like green and slimy and gross, and it wasn't really, And they love green chili. We're from my family's background is from New Mexico and Albuquerque, and red and green chili is really something that we all love. And that meatloaf comes out kind of green, but they love that one, But it's just. Yeah.
Some people have color versions, we do this around April Fools. We'll make something and we'll make it with something to make a color different. And so it just looks weird. It tastes great, but it just looks weird. It just,
Well, that's cool. So what's their favorite thing that Dad makes?
Oh man, what's the favorite thing? Let's see here. They like what I call Cajun corn and my chicken nuggets, but it's not really chicken nuggets. This is the thing. I tricked them. It's chicken. Don't worry. But it's whole chicken, and I don't like deep fry it or bread, any of that kind of weirdo stuff. I bake it. And it just comes out super crispy, but still soft inside. And they just absolutely die it. And then I make a honey mustard dipping sauce. And so after that, I can actually ask them to do anything, and they do it. So they clean my entire house. I make a dinner, and they clean the entire house and take out the trash and walk the dog and all that kind of stuff. So I luck out because I found like the magic recipes for making the kids.
That's awesome. My kids like to cook, and my youngest son, he's 16, and he made dinner for his girlfriend this past weekend. And so she came over, and he wanted to go out and do the shopping, and he bought the ingredients, and he had a recipe and everything, and he made pork chops with a honey mustard glaze. Well, but no vegetable because his girlfriend won't eat vegetables.
Well, then it's a challenge.
It's a little spoiled, I think. But anyway, he won't. So yeah, so that's pretty cool. So how did you start cooking? Did you just experiment in the kitchen, or did you learn when you were a kid, or did you learn in college?
It really was an
necessity.
Early onset adult.
Yeah, onset adult cooking affliction. Are you a gadget person? Do you love all the kitchen gadgets and stuff?
I was, until I saw this one episode by Alton Brown where he did this like top 10 kitchen gadgets you don't need, which I thought was absolutely hilarious.
He's awesome.
But really, I actually don't do a lot of gadgets because everything that I dirty in the kitchen in the making process, you have to clean it.
Right. Or you can leave it for someone like me to come along and have to clean. I have to do all cleaning. Yeah. So I saw Alton Brown live on stage in this show.
He's fantastic.
Yeah, he's a really good show, and he made ice cream with this like really humongous contraption thing that he made. It was pretty cool. Yeah, he's awesome. So, what other kinds of things are you into? I always ask my guests what their hotspot, their Hollywood hotspot is, and you said that you hadn't been to Hollywood, but you have a favorite place to go.
There is a local cafe, right? You knew I was going to say this. There's a local cafe.
Now I know why you said that. Right? Yeah.
And it's called the Bean Tree Cafe, and it's here in Lynchburg because I'm here in Lynchburg, Virginia. And this place, it's big enough that you can be by yourself, but still small enough that it really does have that small cafe. And I actually I haven't been in a while, but during the daytime, I love to take my wife out. We'll go out, and we'll actually even take the two little ones, and we'll go out and we'll have, share a couch, and we'll just have a cup of coffee and get the crayons out and the kids are drawing, and Holly and we're just able to kind of talk and just kind of rest and just kind of hang out. I mean, Blabnation puts a huge dent in that ability to do that, just time-wise, but but it's a great place. They do live music and stuff. So, I mean, if I was to give a shout out to anybody, it would be, the Bean Tree Cafe here in Lynchburg. Yeah, that's awesome. Bean Tree Cafe. They really
do they have a Twitter?
I think they do. I think they do. So, yeah.
Oh, they're going to go on my list of recommended by my guests on Tinsel Town tonight.
I would love to see your Twitter. They've got to have. They've got to have.
Yeah, they probably do. Yeah, not everybody does, but they probably do. So, well, I have two Twitters, as you all know, because you're here. I have at 10 Minute, which used to be my show's 10 Minutes in Tinsel Town. And that one I use on Blab only for my 10-minute broadcast, so that everything you see on there, all the saved, replays are all my 10-minute or my Tinsel Town episodes. And then Ms. Meliz is my main Twitter, and I use that here on Blab also. And because I'm a life coach and I talk about positivity and self-care and my book, and I do guided meditation, and I do group discussions about life and love and relationships and all that. And so that's all kind of over there. So actually I think I'm going to say goal focus this year is going to be dovetailing everything. It's kind of interesting. So I did this major split. Now I want to try to bring it back and wrap it up and put it together. So do you have any tips for me? And in the vein of social media tips that we talked about earlier, what advice would you give for someone who has maybe multiple, pots boiling?
Okay. My probably the biggest thing is one, focus within each account, within each business, focus on who you want to reach. And here's the reason why, right? It's the same principle I'm sure you guys have always heard. If you market to everybody, you're really marketing to nobody, okay? Now, that doesn't mean that you can't have different types of guests on and try to market and try to grow interest or a fan following with that, right? That's not what I'm talking about. What I would definitely say, though, is that really have a focused message with everything that you're going to do. So if you want to talk about social media, then talk about social media. Don't talk about everything but social media on your account. So here, you want to connect with influencers. Well, then talk about influencers. Talk to influencers. But be really don't take a chance. Be really specific with what you want to achieve and who you want to talk to. I gotta say, I'm living proof of it. I have asked some to me, they're really pretty big name people, really big influencers. And you know what? I've only had a couple of people say no, and it was really no because I can't make it there right now. Right. So you know what? I'm going to ask them in about a month or two.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to ask people, and I like so many things. So for a long time, my blog and my writing was just about everything that I like, reflections of me. But you know what? I don't know. I'm kind of want to focus a little bit more. I think I've taken the advice of all the people here, maybe being influenced a little bit, try to see how that goes. So we'll see. So do you have any questions for me, Jonathan Tripp?
Do I have questions? Oh my goodness, no. Do I have questions for you? Oh man, you put me on the spot. It's normally okay. I'm the one that's kind of prepared for this,
That's okay. Is this not what you don't have to ask?
Well, no, questions. It's weird being on. No, I'm not on the. This is the exact same as like Blabnation, except I'm the guest instead of being the one out there. Okay.
In the hot seat, or as Karen Graves says, the love seat.
Yes. Karen, she's great. She's not that far away from me.
Oh, really?
She is not that far away.
Tell her to bring some coffee.
About an hour and a half.
Oh, okay.
One of these days, I'm going to surprise her. I'm going to probably show up and we'll just be like, hey, let's do a blab right here.
That's awesome.
So I do have a question for you. Okay. Where do you on social media, where do you call your home? Is it Facebook? Is it Snapchat? Is it Twitter? Is it Instagram? or is it, I don't know, is it MySpace? Like, where's your home? Right?
I started on MySpace. Yeah,
right.
I started on MySpace, and that's the. Where do I call my home? I've been a blogger for 4 or 5 years now, and so my website is what I consider my home base, and then my umbrella and my social media is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and then I manage multiple accounts on all of those. So I spend a lot of time in those. And then I also have Pinterest, which I noticed that you're on, and you said that you're going to kill Pinterest. And I'm going to be doing Pinterest once a week too, because I really want to bring those up. So my fan base over everything is about 10,000 right now. And that's where I like it. I'd like to double that in this next year, but not, because I want it to be manageable. So does that answer your question?
Well, it does. It tells me where I can now find you, and where.
And now Snapchat and Meavy and Meerkat and
I know. You don't want to be everywhere. It's okay. I will say this is another tip. It's okay to go out and get the names, because I know you started on Meerkat, but who really knew further down the line that Meavy was going to pop up?
Oh, I think some people knew, but they're not the only ones. If you talk to people, and I think Brian is still here, he might have gone to bed, but some people. Brian Arnold was here earlier, and he did I'm pretty sure it was him, kind of a review of all the live streaming things, and he had about 20 different platforms. And so there's so many. It's just that the ones that we hear about and that are gaining popularity. I didn't know it was going to be called Meavy. I just knew there was something else coming out.
Right.
And when I started, like you told your story about how you came to Blab, how I came to Blab was I was on Meerkat, and I was on, I don't know if you know, Lydia, I'm zap out on her last name. She's a Meerkat streamer, and she had a daily morning show. And every week on a Tuesday, whatever certain day, she would do tech talk. She would talk about new technology and new apps and new, crowd funders and things like that. And so people would tune in to see what she was going to talk about. And she was like really cutting edge stuff. And she's like posting this link, try Blab. And so we got on it. And I was one of the first ones to get on, and I'm on there with, I don't know if you know Candy J. She's from Tokyo. And then now I don't even remember who the other people were, but it was myself, Candy, I'm in California, somebody from Canada, and someone from London. And there we were, the four of us in this Blab having this amazing conversation. It was the first time we saw that 4-screen thing. And Blab had been out for about 2 weeks. And so it didn't have any of this stuff. It was the 4 squares, and I think you could type in the side, and it was connected with Twitter. And so, and that was just like, we were all just blown away, and we dominated Blab. There were maybe about 100 people on it at the time, maybe 200. I don't know. You could know everybody. And it was just like, that was going to be the only thing. And getting back to point, but then, what do you do about Meerkat? So for a while we were trying to multi-stream, like with more than one device. Right. I would have Meerkat over here. I know a lot of Periscopers did that too. Yeah. Some people would have Periscope, Meerkat, and Blab going. And, now we have to have 20 screens on you. Right. So I don't know what's going to happen next. What do you think what's going to happen next?
What I think is going to happen next, I think the platform that's going to be able to capture the widest breadth, not necessarily the deepest conversation. I think that's going to be where people feel they need to be. And I think that's the wrong way to go. I would instead say, go deeper, find the place that you can connect with and have a better conversation, because those are going to be more loyal. They are more apt to talk about you in a good way, share your message in a good way, and be the ones that are going to be, okay, so you're on Periscope, I'll be on Periscope with you, because I want to hear where you're going to be. Oh, you have a Facebook group? I'm going to be in your Facebook group. That's where it's going to be. The temptation is to go out and be on everything everywhere. Resist it, find your home, make it, and just own it. Just be awesome at it. like somebody who's commenting in the chat right now, who I think is awesome at cultivating communities. And I've taken a lot of lessons from her.
I think you're talking about Coach Jenny.
Absolutely, I'm talking about Coach Jenny.
Well, I know she's pretty awesome. She's my guru right now. But, so I'm learning a lot and relearning a lot, you know, digging deep and thinking, yeah, okay, I can tap into that. That's pretty exciting. And I do think what you're saying is important, to focus on not one thing, but your main thing. What's your thing? You know, so yours is, yeah.
It's got to be Blab. That's my main thing. This is my home. You know, and I defend it, and I work with people on it, and I promote it in a good way. I try not to be spammy about it. You know, this is my home. So I talk about it. I love being on here. I mean, it doesn't mean that I'm not on. I mean, you guys will find me on Instagram and Twitter and Pinterest. You know, you guys will find me on the other places. You know, and the same thing for you. But where's your home? Where's the place? You guys are always. I say always, as long as it's a platform, so I'm at the mercy of developers. But this is my home. This is where I'm going to find.
Finally, I'm getting some props there. Thank you. I'm just kidding. You know, this is your home. That's amazing. You know, I've gone through phases. I was Tinsel Town Tonight was a 3-hour show, couple times a week in the beginning, and so, you know, I've really narrowed it down, just carved into this time slot and try to keep it to an hour, which we're actually about to go over. So, you know, it's but we started a little late, so we can go for a few more minutes if that's okay with you. But yeah, it kind of will overtake you. And as you build your community, and you have crossed over already to Facebook with Blabnation, and but they go hand in hand. Wouldn't it be neat what do you think of it being a platform where you could have the group combined in Blab or together with Blab? Would that be kind of...
That would be really great in this way, right? This is what everybody hoped, that Google Plus as a overarching, that you could have the communities and then go straight over to the Hangouts, and it just didn't work.
Right.
You know,
right.
And now it's like, well, could it happen? Could it happen? It could. I think they, as long as it stayed true to their mission, I think that absolutely it could. I know some communities, and I'm just going to say it in those words, they've actually then developed their own website membership area where if you want to go, you can go over there and really develop it. And it's, you know, I mean, they have their Facebook groups, and they have their, you know, auxiliary, and they have their private chats and all that. That's fine. That's great. So, but it's a question, where is your home? Where are you going to go?
Well, I'm glad that you found your home here at Blab, and I'm so thankful that you're here on Tinsel Town tonight. And I'm really excited about co-hosting Blabnation with you on Wednesday. And if does anybody else have a quick question? There's a couple that I didn't do, but what, if any, platform do you not focus on? Ooh,
Google Plus.
That's an interesting question. Yeah, right. Don't go to Google Plus. And then, you know, let's see, people are when they're involved in profits. Okay, I don't know what that is. And yeah, they're good people who's not into money. And what, if any, platform do you not focus? Oh, you said that already. A social work. Would a live show be a way of doing therapy in a world classroom? A social work live show.
As long as you can respect privacy. That would be my suggestion. I think, Rick, absolutely you could do some different types of social work, advocacy work and things like that. Do, you know, as far as like a nonprofit and things like that, but specifically social work, I think you could. You got to be really careful about making sure it's super structured for the protection of the people involved, because you don't want to
can't always show people, like, we've done a lot of live streaming.
And you don't want to get into a mess where it becomes you're not a help.
Right.
But so be super structured, be super clear on what you're doing. You know, I mean, you can always talk about somebody in third person and not reveal secrets, right? But as far as just having a good show, be really super duper focused. But
I think it would be a great show in having people share their experiences and their, you know, what they learned from being involved, rather than just focusing on, you know, what they did or where they did it. That sounds kind of weird, but you know what I mean. And then a quick question before the last question. How old are your kids? I guess she's talking about your kids, or I don't know, she's talking about Mike. I'm pretty sure she's talking about your kids.
Was that Donnie's
Yes.
questions? I think it was. So Donnie, I have 5 kids. All right, anywhere they're between a year and a half and 12 years old. So I am super blessed.
A year and a half to 12 years old. That's crazy. That's awesome. Kids are awesome. I'm actually, well, I want to say it. I want a grandchild or another grandnephew or niece. That would be cool because babies are fun. Okay,
Coach
how
Jenny,
old are my kids? Coach Jenny wants to know. Yeah, they are 20, 19, and 16. So they're all young men. My 16-year-old is the tallest. He's 6 feet, or 6'1" or something. I don't know. If I say it wrong, I'll get in trouble. But he's tall. So the last question here is, what would it be like to do? I love this question. What would it be like to do art lessons or a painting party on Blab? And does anyone think that might work? Absolutely. I've seen a lot of really neat arts, crafts, cooking, really great shows on Blab. And the best ones are when somebody can use 2 cameras. So you have to have 2 profiles where you have like your cell phone or something, you know, on you, and then the, you know, other camera focused on what you're doing. And that would be fun. Or another thing that I've seen people do, and then you could tell me, you know, like what, Jonathan, what you've experienced, but there's these crafters or even writers who get together and will have a prompt and then they'll work on it while they're in the group and they're doing the chat and stuff. So it's a real passive Blab. It's not like, you know, it's more fun to participate in than watch, I would think, unless you just have a lot of questions. But if they have at least one camera on what's going on, I think that's really cool. And so Joyful Renee says she's just spent the evening getting my 2 cameras going. See, and right. Coach Jenny thinks that's awesome. Awesome. I like things are awesome.
I know. I think cooking shows in that, you know, we have a bunch. We actually have a good handful of Blabnation peoples. I don't know, Blabnationers, I don't know what the term is, but
oh yeah, right. Blab Nationals.
Blab Nationals. I don't know, right? We'll get a T-shirt one day. But we have several people in the community that have a periodic but a fairly regular cooking show, and that's one of the things. And actually, Renee is one of them where she has those 2 cameras going on, and it's a really awesome concept. It's so innovative for live streaming on how to do it.
So when on Meerkat, and I'm sure Periscope's the same way. I am on Periscope and I've done scopes, but you know, like I said, I kind of came from the Meerkat world. But we'd just like lean our camera on the desk or something and have it so you can kind of see yourself in the frame, but it's really looking at what you're doing, and just sit there and draw and color for hours and talk to people as you're doing it. And there are quite a few artists that I thoroughly enjoyed watching them do their process, and it was really neat. So I'm going to share some of my stuff because I've been doing mandalas lately. Okay, so I drew this one. Okay.
Wait, you drew that?
I drew that from
Get out of town.
From scratch, yeah. See?
Wow. That is really amazing.
It's not. It sucks because mandala artists are very precise, but I'm not. But here it is colored, which I like the way it comes out once I colored it. That's very colorful. See? Look
at that. Holy cow. That is really amazing.
Thank you. So my project for this year, I want to get that image or different images. Here's another one. Printed like on a pillow or a mug. You might get a mug with my mandala on it. Or what I really want to do is tiles. So I'm looking at how to figure out how to do the process so I don't have to do it through Shutterfly or something, but you could put an image on a ceramic tile. And so then you could either use that, you know, as the like all propped up or on a frame or something, or I could even refinish a table and have all my tiles be my pictures. And no, possibilities are endless. So, you know, this is another one I did.
Wow. That's really amazing.
It's all with Sharpies too, and it's fun. I love Sharpies. So that is my last question for you, okay? Because we are over. And then everybody can head over to MsMeliz.com and check out the pictures that I've posted of you and the little show notes, and I'll add the link for Donnie and the picture, and I'll put a whole bunch of lines through it or something so you can't print it out. You have to go buy it. Just kidding. So what kind of creative thing, besides cooking and making coffee, what kind of creative thing are you into?
Creative thing. I sing, but I don't sing like solo stuff. I don't do any of that kind of stuff.
You're not going to sing for me if I ask you right now?
No, I
sing. But you like to sing in like
epic shower singer.
Like church or something? Like
yeah, I sing it. I've sung. That was my background, right? Sing. Look at her.
Sing. That's next. I'm off the record, maybe.
Right. Maybe. No, actually, no. I'll do a singing Snap story, right?
Okay.
So if you're on Snapchat, you can find me.
Okay. Singing.
No, but I've done singing. That's why I did some of my undergrad work in, and so I mean, I've done.
Really?
Yeah, so I mean, I've been doing music stuff, and I did a lot more like traditional and classical stuff like that for years. And but now I have a chance to serve the community and be a part of the larger choir, and I love it. And it's a great.
You're in a choir? Did everybody know this? Am I the only one who doesn't know this? Because
it's the first time. I don't talk about it.
This is breaking news about Jonathan Tripp is in a choir. When are we going to get to see you in the choir?
Let's see here. Well, they actually live stream it every Sunday. Every once in a while you get it, right?
TV a lot. Right. On Sunday it's broadcasted?
Yeah, they actually broadcast. It's like Hope Now TV or something like that. They do a lot of that stuff. They actually really do a really big Christmas time event, and they have like this 2-story Christmas tree. I mean, there's like it's outrageous. This is my first year doing it, but I love singing and I love being a part of it. And
Look at that comment. You've just gained more respect for me, John. See, creativity and art and music and singing, that is something that makes a person alive. And that is how I'll end, because I want to say thank you for making my life sparkle, Jonathan. You're a superstar. I really appreciate you being here. I can't wait to hear you sing. I can't wait to go back and watch the replay and just have all my friends see this wonderful interview that they missed live, because you are awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This really was a pleasure and a privilege to be here. Even though working through some of the tech stuff, but you know what? Tech stuff is just tech stuff. It really is about the conversation. And I got to say, this is a really great. I had a really great time tonight. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much. And we learned some things, and we learned some things about you. And I'm really happy that you were here. And if anybody else wants to, be on Tinsel Town tonight, let me know, and I'll send you the form. Jonathan can walk you through it.
Yes, I have a vast experience with this form.
The form. That air quote.
That was for Jenny.
He's formophobic just a little bit, but you got through it. It's okay. He's form accepting now. So, okay. Anyway, you'll know what that means when you're on the show. So thank you so much again for being here. I'm going to play my outro music.
Okay.
Hold on here, and we're going to dance. You hear that? All right. Thank you so much for being on Tinsel Town tonight with Ms. Meliz. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you next week. And coming up in February, I have Sean Diddy, country western Sean Diddy. She'll sing for us. Jennifer Lehner is going to be on the show, Liz Garcia, and Jennifer Quinn. So I'm totally psyched about my February. So join me Tuesday nights on Tinsel Town tonight, 7 p.m. on Blab and MsMeliz.com. Good night, Jonathan. Say good night.
Thank you so much. Good night, guys. We'll talk to you later.